And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky. And
do you mean camp counselor Robert Skolansky?
Counselor in training.
Counselor in training, okay.
With all this, the weather we've been having, it's great to be at camp.
I know. Well, it's after 4th of July.
Yes.
And so next up, we gotta go to camp.
Yeah,
because that's what you do. I mean, most camps start before 4th, I think, but we're gonna head to camp after the 4th of July. It's the back half of camp.
Now, Steve, I have a question. Did you keep your grades up?
No. Well, maybe. I was a pretty good student. Although the funny thing is, when we went to camp, I don't think camp was based on our grades.
Yes, but as we'll find out in this episode, Bart could only go to camp because of his grades.
Yeah. But I'm saying when we went to camp, our camp trips were not based on our grades. We got to go whenever we wanted. Well,
I'm pretty sure our camp trips were based on our parents wanted us out of the house.
Yeah, right? Just like most parents in the summer.
Yes.
So for those of you that haven't caught on yet, we are starting season 4 today. And we're launching that with episode 1 of Kamp Krusty. Now, I think if one of my favorite TV clowns had his own camp, I think I'd want to go to his camp.
I mean, so if Bozo the Clown had a camp, you'd go?
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust going to a camp that was approved by a clown.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Bozo was a class act. I mean, he allowed kids to do the grand prize game and everything, so
yeah,
it could have been fun. So the air date for this episode was September 24th, 1992.
Correct.
Which was 1 month after the season finale of season 3.
Which should have technically have been the series premiere of season 4.
Yep.
It gets confusing.
Yes, just a little bit. So the recap. Bart and Lisa are horrified when their summer at Kamp Krusty turns into a nightmare.
I think the worst thing ever when I went to camp was probably the weather turning really bad.
Yeah, I mean, the only nightmare camp experience I had was 99, and it was the storm of the century that destroyed the camp.
Yeah, you were there for that.
I was there.
I can't believe I missed that. I mean, I was the first session,
yeah.
So it was, I can't believe, man. That's still, I think they have a plaque commemorating that, don't they?
I hope so, man. With all the stuff that was just, we were hunkered down, and it woke up the next morning and looked at the wreckage. It was pretty brutal. And so, before we get to the chalkboard, we'll do the chalkboard. So this punishment is not boring and pointless. I love how we changed it up a little bit. We didn't get a punishment of Bart's or what he did wrong to write on the chalkboard this week. He probably complained about writing what he was writing on the chalkboard. Yes. And Krabappel was like, all right, you know what? Erase all that. You're going to write a new one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with Bart. This punishment is boring and pointless. What do you learn by writing on the chalkboard?
My fingers hurt. Oh, your fingers
don't do
hurt?
It again? Clearly, Bart has not learned his lesson up to this point. He's going to keep doing what he does.
Yep. And so we get our full Springfield intro. And I just want to make a reference. So this first episode of season 4, we are still getting Marge's not station wagon.
Yep.
In the opening scenes or opening credits, it's still a 4-door sedan, which I did not know the Simpsons even owned, except Homer's car.
Yes.
So the couch gag this week, the Flintstones are sitting on the Simpsons couch.
So we get our first cross-promotional couch gag.
Or just cross-IP couch gag.
Well, whatever. Same diff.
Yeah, it's Fred, Wilma, and Pebbles. Now, I think it would have been kind of funny had they gone the 5 route with, 5 Simpsons, 5, if they'd done Barney and, what's Barney's wife's name?
Oh, not Velma. Or Thelma.
No.
Thelma's
Scooby-Doo.
Oh, Wilma.
No, Wilma's Fred's wife. Barney and... Why don't I know Barney's wife's name? This. I should know it. I don't know. Well, if we remember later on in the episode, we will cut back to that. But yeah, it was kind of cool because Fred kind of looked at Homer like... Betty, there you go. So, but I like how Fred gave this look to Homer like, my couch, bitch. Get out of here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It would have been kind of cool if they also had Dino.
Because Santa's Little Helper, I guess, really isn't involved in couch gags.
He's in a couple.
But yeah, that's only when he's scurrying at the Simpsons to back off the couch.
Or if he's somehow underneath the couch cushion.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that though, he doesn't play a role in the couch gags. So, but had Santa's Little Helper played a role, I'd say yeah, Dino would have been a great addition.
It would have been great if they could have animated it with Dino chasing Santa's Little Helper in the couch gag.
That'd be cool.
That'd be great. So we start this episode off with probably the greatest day of school ever, the last day of school.
Who doesn't like the last day of school?
To be fair, I still have nightmares about being in school, so are you really ever out of school?
Yes, I haven't been in school for 17... No, I can't math. Let's see. Yeah, probably 17 years. 17 years. Wow, I guess I can math, but
there you go.
17 years since I've stepped foot in a classroom. But yeah, the last day of school is always the best.
So we get Mrs. Krabappel handing out report cards, and Bart's report card. These are the report cards for fourth graders: arithmetic, social studies, conduct, history,
conduct,
art, and What is and later on in the episode, after Lisa gets her actual report card as well. What is conduct? Is that like how you behave in class?
I could see that not being a that would be a pass fail. I could say let's say that's a pass fail type of grade, not necessarily an A through F type of grade.
I feel like I think I remember correctly in elementary school we did get comments from the teacher whether or not we participated, which I guess this probably is.
I could think conduct might be that, but I like how Bart gets an F- in that too, because he's Bart. Look at all the things he did during the school year. He made funny noises that weren't funny. He faked seizures. He threw up. I mean, he did a lot of things that could get you an F- on conduct.
Yeah. I do know in college we did get participation.
Really? In college?
In college, yeah. In some of my gen ed classes, you had to participate.
So I like how Bart's like, if I don't get a C average, my dad won't let me go to Kamp Krusty. And Miss Krabappel's like, well, it isn't fair to the other children, but all right. And Bart's like, much obliged, doll. And he slaps her on the ass. That was pretty funny.
Oh my God, that is great.
And then there's like, oh, Bart Simpson, I'm gonna miss you. And then Principal Skinner comes onto the PA. Attention, everyone. This is Principal Skinner. I trust all of you remember to bring in your implements of destruction. Now let's trash this dump. And then we get Alice Cooper's School's Out for Summer blaring as the students and faculty of Springfield Elementary destroy the school. And then Bart mans a wrecking ball and bashes the school in.
Well, and during the sequence, so when Skinner comes over the PA to announce it and all the kids run out, Bart jumps on his desk and he's kind of dressed like Rambo.
Yep.
And then when he's in the wrecking ball, though, he's not dressed like Rambo. Now,
well, remember, now it's a dream.
Way to ruin it. Way to ruin the dream.
Yeah, he wakes up and it's a dream. So it's okay if your outfit changes in a dream. But I like how Nelson has a flamethrower.
Willie drives his tractor through the wall. It's great.
How did he get his tractor in the school?
It's a dream.
It's a dream. So anything is possible.
So as Steve alluded to, it's a dream. Bart wakes up. Well, doesn't Homer wake up Bart?
Yeah, Homer comes in and wakes up Bart for the last day of school.
And Homer's like, "Oh, Bart, it's the last day of school." And Bart looks at his calendar, and it is June 12th, and they got this right, which I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, you can check calendars, dude. I can look at calendars up to 2050.
20. Well,
yeah,
this has to go backwards. which isn't that hard because it was like probably written in a year in advance. So Friday the 12th was an actual Friday in 1992.
So, okay, let me get this straight then. The whole season 3 then, remember how we were complaining about time?
Well, we're starting season 4 off like that.
So, no, we're starting season 4 off actually correct then, because if it's...
I suppose it's in September.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it could be September when the episode was aired, but it's finishing school. So, I mean, look at a lot of TV shows, though. Like, episode 1 of a season sometimes is summer vacation or, and then they kind of catch up to what time is, which I'm guessing the Simpsons were like, hey, you know what? I know how to reset the timeline. Let's make this correct.
I mean, this is a cartoon that really, they don't age per se, so they can really get away with doing whatever they want with the timeline.
Yeah.
But like a lot of like live action shows that involve like school aged kids, they usually start out like when they start in August, they start at the beginning of the school year and they go with the time flow.
Yep.
So Homer wakes up Bart. Bart asks Homer how he knows it's not a dream. So Homer whacks him with a rolled up newspaper.
He's like, you do know that pinching is more traditional.
And for anybody out there who doesn't know the joke, when you're in a dream, you can't be hurt.
Yeah.
At least for most people. I think.
No, your brain just doesn't allow pain, which is why when you fall, you wake up before you hit the ground. Like, it's all a sensory thing within your brain.
Yeah. So, Dr. Steven, everybody.
Yes.
So, they go downstairs, and they're eating breakfast, and Marge asks Homer if he remembers his promise to the children. He goes, oh, yeah, that's right. When you're 18, you're out the door.
Man, I wish that was true these days.
I mean...
all the millennials stay... I guess there was probably a point where it changed, but maybe
well,
late
when
2000s?
you're like 6 figures in student debt.
Yeah, but you go to school and then you go back home and stay. Homer's like, when you're 18, you're gone.
Yeah. And Marge, reminds Homer about, the grades situation.
Yeah.
And before Bart shows his report card to Homer, he goes, hey, I worked really, he wants Homer to be understanding. Well, but I love the animation where Homer's like leading, but his arm is on his plate of food. I don't think Homer would do that.
No, and I like how, Bart's like, well, what if I don't? And Homer's like, well, if you really want something in life, you have to work for it. Now, quiet. They're about to announce the lottery numbers. And I love the fact that Homer is still playing the lottery after the lottery episode.
And now, he hits a number here. He hits one.
I think he hits 2 numbers.
Oh, you're right. I think it is 2.
Now, what I didn't do, and I probably should have, was gone back to the lottery episode. And because I think some of those numbers, or if not all of those numbers, were the same numbers he chose in Dog of Death.
Yeah. So, we go back to the school, and I think I followed the rules when I cleaned out my locker every year, but you have kids, cleaning out their lockers and just throwing trash on the floor with, trash cans that say, please use trash cans, which, kids are kids. They're going to ignore the signs. And so we see Bart walking down the hallway, and he goes to his locker, and he, opens up his locker, and his combination is 36, 24, 36. And for anybody who has listened to, I guess Sir Mix-a-Lot is considered rap.
Yeah, it is. It is directly from that. I mean, I don't know if they necessarily, 91, so I would have to imagine that's where they got that from.
So, so it's partially a reference to what at the time was considered the ideal body shape of a woman. Obviously, there is no ideal body shape. Also, Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, which is also, that is referenced in that song.
That's the locker combination.
Which is locker combination 36, 24, 36. The song was recorded in 91. This song was released in May of 92. That song was released in May of 92. So it may or may not. And also, it could also be a reference to the song Brick House by the Commodores.
Oh, do they do that in there too? Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's one of those 2 songs. Because, she's a brick house.
Yeah.
So, they might have been able to get it from Sir Mix-a-Lot. I'm going to go with more Brick House, though, because that's an older song.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the two, yeah. And so Bart opens up his locker and we hear just jungle sounds coming from it. That was pretty funny. And so he's, digging through his locker and it's a complete mess because
I have to ask. So you see in his locker, there's a glass of water and a potato growing out of it.
Well, I'm sure a potato wasn't growing out of the glass of water. It's a science experiment.
Because he just left, I suppose Bart is Bart.
Yeah, he just left his potato in his locker. Dude, I remember the funniest thing that was in my locker in middle school. We dissected worms, and for whatever reason, they allowed us to liberate some of the worms and take them with us. And so we kept pet worms in our locker, in dirt and stuff like that. And mine ended up dying because we got home for Christmas break, and you have to water the dirt because worms, need moisture in the dirt to survive. And a little slight mistake. So
it's a worm. It'll be okay.
No, it wasn't okay. It died. So it's just funny how messy Bart's locker is. He pulls out his gym shorts, were as stiff as a piece of paper.
Oh, gross.
And then he folded it up, made it a paper airplane, and threw it.
God, that was gross.
Yeah, I don't think those have ever been washed.
Really, you think?
Maybe. So then we cut to Lisa's classroom, and they're, giving out the grades there, and we see the Give a Hoot, Read a Book sign on the wall. Mm-hmm. And we also, in the back of Lisa's classroom, we see a sign that says, Give a Hoot, Wash Up, right by the
I missed that.
Sinks.
Well, your kids should be washing their hands.
They should be.
They're germ factories.
Yeah. So Lisa gets a report card and she gets a B in conduct, and which I might be able to see how Lisa's conductivity in class might be either rude or
she's a know-it-all.
Well, remember when she was told that she could be a saxophone player.
Yeah.
That's where that grade came from. The whole time where she became Bad Girl Lisa.
Maybe.
They were like B- or B+. And I like how she freaks out and, she goes up to Miss Hoover. She's like, you got to change this. It's like, well, Lisa, it's okay to have a blemish on your permanent record. And she just completely wigs out at Miss Hoover for giving her a B+.
I love how she grips Mrs. Hoover.
She's like, Lisa, you're hurting me.
Now, have you ever gotten a grade that you thought was unfair?
I'm sure I have. I mean, like I said, it's been 17 years since I've been in college, and then plus another, so 22 years total since I was in high school. I mean, the list goes on. So
I think the only class that I absolutely hated throughout my 16-year career of school and college was I had a general biology class as a freshman in college that was taught like a 400 level class. I got a D in that class, and it was because of the exams. The exams were ridiculously hard.
Yeah, that's college for you.
But I studied. That was the problem.
Yeah. You weren't allowed to use notes or partial notes.
No, we had to study. We had to study the material and take and I studied. And now, granted, I'm not the greatest test taker. I have a hard time keeping track of information. So take that as you will. But for conduct, I don't think I've ever gotten, points taken off because, I wasn't participating.
Yeah. So Bart tries to butter up Krabappel as, Bart can. Yeah. And she fills out his report card and he gets all D's. And, Bart tells her, hey, I need a C average. And she replies, have a delightful summer.
Man, I love that.
Oh, Mrs. K, you like to crap on Bart's life. And
all the grief he gives her.
Yep. Oh yeah, I could see that. And so now it's the end of school. All the kids, they're all sitting there like watching the clock tick down, and they're all counting down. And I love how one of the scenes you see Nelson and what is it, Kurt? I think it was like Kearney. And they're dunking Milhouse's head in the toilet while they were saying that. And so all the school bell rings, all the kids leave, and there's a meme out there for this one where the teacher kind of opens up. It's like, "Hey, you forgot to learn how the World War I ended or World War II ended." And all the kids turn around all in anticipation. We won! And then all the kids cheer and, chant USA as they're walking out of
Now, does anybody really win? I mean, yes, technically, like, the Allies won the war, but does anybody really win that war?
Eventually. I mean, I played a game of war once. It lasted like 5 days. I think I eventually won.
Not that kind of war.
Oh, okay. So then we cut to the school bus, and on the school bus, we see, everyone partying because it's the last day of school. We see a kid that's streaking up and down the aisle. And I think he is, but he looks like the kid that was streaking over through the chocolate factory in Bart the Murderer.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah, he looked kind of like him.
Yep.
And so I like how Bart has one of those diamond checking monocles on. And he's trying to figure out how to forge his report card, and he makes all B's.
A's.
Or all A's. Oh, that's right. And Lisa, laughs at him. Like, Bart, that's very...
Nobody's going to believe you.
No one's going to believe you. And so we cut back to the house, and, the kids and everyone's they're watching TV, and we see a Kamp Krusty ad.
Yep.
And it's like, Kamp Krusty is built on an actual Indian burial ground. We've got archery, wallet making, the whole Megillah. And for you fat kids, my exclusive program of diet and ridicule will really get results. And we see a fat kid kind of poof into a skinny kid. That was pretty funny.
That was great. I don't remember. Well, I do remember our camp didn't really have any, like, a side attraction for like fat kids. I mean, there is fat camps across the country.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was kind of weird that there is a side shoot of Kamp Krusty specifically for fat kids. It seemed kind of weird but it was so weird though, because I mean, we'll get to it later when they're all loading up the buses. I kind of made a comment on it, but it just seems really weird that the fat kids they're not going to Kamp Krusty per se.
Yeah.
They're going to the fat Kamp Krusty, I guess.
Yeah. So now we cut to the backyard, and Homer is mowing the lawn. And as he's mowing over the lawn, he mows over like a hose and a ball. And then eventually he mows over a roller skate.
It's like stupid roller skate, which I feel like he would have had trouble with the lawnmower before the roller skate.
Yeah, especially running over a rubber hose.
Yeah, that could have tied it up a little bit.
Yeah, and so then Bart comes back to show Homer his report card, and Homer, clearly, as dumb as Homer is, Homer realizes Bart forged the report card because he's like, oh, Bart, you could have done all B's.
Yep.
Because he's like, D's turn into B's so easily, and they do. You just put a line.
Yep. He got greedy. Bart got greedy. Now, I don't think we had the ability to forge them.
No.
Because all of our report cards were digital and sent through the mail.
Well, high school was digital, and I believe middle school was digital. Elementary school was handwritten.
It was.
However, I think, I don't remember if those were mailed out, but I'm pretty sure those were handed to our parents on like the last day of school or something.
Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't get the chance to forge our grades.
No.
So now here's the thing. Would you have if like our teachers passed out grades and gave them to you and said take these home to your parents and you had a horrible grade, if you had a bad grade, would you attempt it, or would you take the wrath of our parents?
I'm pretty sure I'd rather take the wrath than trying to forge it, because don't forget, our mom was a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she would have figured out, hey, this is not the grade. Plus, I mean, especially by the time I got to high school, I just told our mom what my grades were, because one way or another, she was going to find out.
Yeah.
I remember junior year of high school, I grounded myself because I got a crappy grade, because I knew my mom was going to find out. And I'm like, she's going to ground me anyways, so I might as well just preempt it.
Although one time, I do know that our parents wanted to open the report card like all together.
Okay.
And I know there was at least one time where I just needed to see my grades before my parents so I could brace myself. So,
well, didn't you know what your grades were?
Well, I think there was a couple classes where they just didn't tell us. It was like, oh, you got to wait for your report card sort of thing.
Okay.
And so, I mean, as soon as I got home, checked the mail, cracked it open. You know, it was one of those things like I got to brace myself. If I got a bad grade, I got to brace myself for the wrath of our mom yelling at us or me for you should have done better. Why didn't you do better? Do better.
It's not necessarily the yelling. It's we're disappointed in you.
Yeah, right.
I'd rather get yelled at than, you know, because at least the yelling will be done after the yelling. It's the, oh, we're just disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever rushed home to open up my report card, especially in high school, because I usually knew what my grade. I usually could tell how well I was doing in school, and I did pretty well in high school, so I wasn't worried about it. Except for that one, it was English class. So Homer, you know, tells Bart, you know what, I'll let you go to camp, because you know Homer is like, well, it was stupid, you know. It's stupid of me to think, you know, making this deal would get you better grades, and Bart's like, I forgive you. But like really, you know, that's kind of bad parenting when you make a deal with a kid and they don't follow through. Look, I know Homer, you know, he ends up saying, well, we want you kids gone anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
now,
if you made a deal with your kid and you didn't follow through, what do you think that's going to teach your kid?
Yeah. Well, the other thing about this that kind of, I don't know how it makes sense. So, okay, you get a C average, you can go to camp.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder how long. So if it's June, right?
Yes.
That's the end of school.
Correct.
Camp would start 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you would have to register for camp, you know, months in advance to secure.
But don't forget,
your
this is Kamp Krusty.
I mean, I guess, but
don't forget how poorly things Krusty does.
Yeah, but okay, so you're saying the week before camp, you can still register?
Sure, why not? It's Krusty approved camp.
Oh, okay.
But no, I agree. Usually, you know, you have to sign up, right? Reserve your spot for camp, and usually, especially like a Kamp Krusty, I can imagine like.
Well, you're going to a celebrity. Yeah, you're going to a celebrity-based camp. I feel like you would fill up horribly quick.
Yeah. Unless people outside of Springfield hate Krusty so much they wouldn't want to go.
Maybe. Maybe only Springfielders like Kamp Krusty.
Yeah. So, you know, after they have their little chat, you know, Homer's like, hey, Bart, stick your hand in the lawnmower and help me out. Right as Bart does it, the lawnmower starts. I was like, no. Like, if I'm Bart and Homer asked me that, I'm like, no, man. I'm not like, because Bart was going to do it.
That must be some magic lawnmower, though, because as soon as you let go of the bars, the lawnmower stops. It wouldn't just kick back on again.
Correct.
So maybe it's just a magic lawnmower. Even Homer didn't think it was going to start up again.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, I turned it off. Bart, get the roller skate out.
Yeah. And then it magically, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never, ever put your hand at the bottom of a lawnmower unless it is actually turned off.
Or just flip it on its side so you can actually physically see the blades. That might be helpful.
Yeah. So we cut up to Bart in his room, laying on his bed, and Marge is packing up Bart's stuff for camp. And when I was younger, like my first couple of years going to camp, my mom helped me pack for camp, but she wasn't actively throwing things in my bag. She was there to be like, Rob, you need to put in this in your bag and this, like, and I would do it myself.
Well, remember our parents though, they had to like but put our names on
the
it.
labels.
Yeah, for the laundry. So when our laundry, I feel like we went to a goody two-shoe camp. Now that I say it out loud, I'm like, yeah, we had laundry service at our camp.
Well, I feel like any camp.
Do they do laundry service? I honestly don't know, like a YMCA camp or any other camp has a laundry service. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like any camp that runs at least a month
would
probably have to have, like, that's a lot of money to have washers and dryers on the camp. Plus, you're in the middle of the woods.
I don't know. I would like to look into that now to see how many camps have laundry service.
Yeah. So if you went to summer camp and didn't have a laundry service, feel free to make fun of us for going to a hoity-toity summer camp.
Yeah.
That was the one thing though about laundry day. I was always afraid I wouldn't get both of my bags back.
Yeah.
And there was a couple times where they came back late.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So Marge asked Bart, like saying, "Oh, I can't find your bathing suit." Bart's like, "That's okay. I'm going to go naked. I know some people won't like it."
No. Naked.
And he's like, "I know some people won't be approved, but it's a natural body."
Yeah.
I'm like, Bart, I don't think they're going to let you swim, all natural.
Yeah. No skinny dipping at camp.
No, and then Lisa goes to the doctor to get her booster shots, and I just love how she tells Dr. Hibbert, "I need booster shots for this, and this." And to be fair, I don't think we ever got shots when we went to camp.
No, I don't think we had to get shots, but I think we had to have a physical.
Yes,
to go to camp.
I don't remember getting shots, but I do remember the physical, and yeah,
He's like, it looks like we have a hypochondriac on our hands. And the only thing for that is a booster shot of a lollipop. It's like,
doesn't he call it a lollipop?
A lollipop, yeah. It's like, and Lisa's like, don't patronize me.
Well, I mean, Lisa's like an adult in a child's body.
Yeah.
I do like that, but to be fair, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some camps that, might make you take a shot here or there.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. So Bart and Lisa are going to be gone for 6 weeks, which I feel like is a tad long for elementary age kids. Because the first few years I went to camp, I was only gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that was like a half a session, right?
Correct.
Because a full session was a month.
Yep.
And then, but if you did both sessions, was 8 weeks.
Yes. But there was a week break in between.
Yeah. Between the sessions to clean up camp and get. So, I mean, theoretically, 6 weeks would be a session and a half.
But for elementary, for an 8 and 10-year-old,
I mean, if parents want to get rid of them that bad,
I mean, sure. So, and then they're all sitting around and at dinner, or no, they weren't. Yeah,
it was dinner. Yeah, it was dinner.
Now, I do like to point out that Marge was on Homer's side and Homer was on or was that the next episode?
Next episode.
That's next. Okay. So Marge is crying over the fact that they're going to be gone. And to be fair, I don't think our parents cried when they sent us away. I think they were over the moon to send us away.
Yeah. Well, I like how Marge is crying and then immediately changes her tune after they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, she's like, all right, well, I guess mom's crying. So Homer's like, Bart, he's like, I'm going to take your pickle. And Bart's like, well, I'm going to lick it. And Bart licks his pickle. And then Homer's like, well, I'm going to drop it in your milk. And Bart's like, checkmate.
That was a weird sequence.
I mean, I know Shayleg's trying to steal my food. Maybe I should lick it. That's a good idea.
I like to point out that you guys have a kid. I don't think she cares about your germs anymore.
Maybe. And so then we finally cut to the scene where they're all getting on the bus, and we see Martin and his parents, and he's like, I can't remember the name that they actually called the camp. He's like, don't try to trick me. I know you're sending me to a fat camp. But this is the weird thing. I'm like, okay, so the bus says Kamp Krusty. Does Martin not realize that he's getting sent to Kamp Krusty's?
Well, he knows, because he's like, I know you're sending me to fat camp.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be Kamp Krusty though? Like, aren't those one and the same? Are they not one and the same? Like, do the fat camp kids not get to participate in the Krusty?
No, they're going to fat camp. They're losing weight.
Not that you can't participate in riding horses and swimming and stuff.
They're too fat. They're too fat to ride horses.
Oh yeah, the horses are in danger now. We're endangering our horses by letting the fat kids ride them.
Probably like a 60-pound kid.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. Like, what is it? Like, horses weigh like a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe more. I guess I don't know. But yeah, so they all get on the bus and the bus drives away and the parents are just sitting there. Bus gets out of frame. Yeah, they all cheer, which I guess we never got to see that side of it. I almost wonder if all the parents in the parking lot of the JCC started to cheer when we all left.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I do like how one of the fathers like popped open a bottle of champagne.
I know. And then someone else shouts, "Don't come back."
Wow.
Like, whoa.
Okay, that's a little far.
Yeah,
Far.
I thought that was pretty funny. So then we get the bus entering the Kamp Krusty grounds, and we see sign Kamp Krusty, the crustiest place on earth.
That is a terrible slogan.
Well, if you do look at the camp, though, it is pretty crusty.
You're not wrong.
And then the bridge starts falling apart as they drive over it, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And so all the kids are sitting around. We're getting the introductions to camp, which, like every camp that we went to, we kind of got all the introductions. And Krusty couldn't be there, but he had a stand-in. His name was Mr. Black.
I love the video because, like, here's Mr.
Black.
And blah, 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 Mr. Black. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
I just don't know, like, okay, like I get, okay, let's say for whatever reason, Krusty couldn't be at camp. Like, for whatever, like,
I mean, he's a celebrity.
He's a celebrity. He has other obligations. I still think the camp could theoretically run like normal.
Yeah.
You just don't have a Krusty, but I mean, it's like the evil Krusty Corporation took over, and we learned that Mr. Black was the president of Euro Krusty until it blew up.
Which I'm pretty sure is another shot at the Disneyland that opened in France that nobody went to because they're French.
Which is kind of funny because we don't get Krusty Land or Itchy and well, I guess it's not Krusty. Well, okay, so is Euro Krusty Land similar to Itchy and Scratchy Land?
Correct.
Okay, but they're not the same. It's kind of like Disney World and Disneyland. They would be two separate.
Yeah, so you have Euro Krusty Land, which is a dig at Disneyland, or maybe one of the Disney parks that opened up in France that nobody went to.
Yeah, but I thought that's what Itchy and Scratchy Land in Europe was. So Itchy Euro Scratchy Land blew up, so they replaced it with.
Itchy and Scratchy Land was not in Europe.
Yeah, it was. They had when we get to the episode, you'll see.
Yeah, okay.
And so then we learned that Dolph, Jimbo, and Kearney are counselors at this camp.
And I'm shocked by this fact, but this is the episode Dolph gets his name.
Oh.
We did not hear. He was the no-name kid.
No-name kid.
Because in the episode where Bart, steals for them, they don't actually say Dolph's name.
Yeah.
So he officially got his name in this episode. Nice.
And I like how as they scan back, Wendell coughs and is like, I see we're going to have a troublemaker. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to mess with Dolph, Kearney, and Jimbo, man.
My question is, how did Wendell get to this camp if he's got motion sickness?
His parents drove him? I don't know.
Well, he gets motion sickness.
Well, he still has to drive on buses and stuff. Maybe it doesn't happen all the time.
Okay.
And so they go to the cabins, and they open up the door, and it's all run down. And Bart's like, "You really expect us to sleep in here?" And Jimbo's like, "TS, get in there."
Did he say TS? I thought he said TF.
I don't know what that would stand for, but I looked at it a couple times. It's TS.
Okay, then I misheard it. Prior to them showing the cabin.
And if you guys don't know what that stands for, it's tough shit.
I do but before they got shown the cabins, we did cut back to the Simpsons household where Marge was showering and Homer was going to the shower and Marge's like, "Oh, I'll be done in a second." And Homer's like, "Oh, but you're not done yet." And they get into the lovey times in the shower.
I know. It's just, but here's the funny thing. I like how Homer and Marge throughout the entire Kamp Krusty part of it, they're all like getting frisky. They're having a good time. Homer's exercising and stuff. I mean, I just kind of want to know where Maggie is in all this. Like the kids are at camp.
She's a baby.
Yeah, I guess they could just throw her in the crib or playpen or whatever and still get the job done. Maybe. But yeah, we see there's a rattlesnake in the camp and, Bart worries, Bart's like, "Oh, I'm not worried. There's a Krusty brand seal of approval on the cabin." And so then we get a shot of Krusty, it's like, there's a clock that, gets incredibly hot if left plug in. And, there's a short circuiting electric toothbrush, handguns, I mean, there's a lot of things with
There's
Krusty.
a shelf. There's just a shelf of crappy Krusty merchandise.
Yep. But yeah, I like how Lisa's like, this is a little more rustic than I expected. And was like,
I
I'm
do
not
like-
worried, Lise. You know why? Because of this. And the Krusty brand seal of approval. You can only find this on products which meet the high personal standards of Krusty the Clown.
Yeah, high personal standards.
Yep. And so then we get a cut of Krusty approving items, and after that,
Yep.
he's off to Wimbledon. Which,
Yeah.
he wants to enjoy his summer. He doesn't want to be at camp enjoying summer.
Yeah.
So then we get the horrors, basically the horrors of Kamp Krusty. And there's Bart. It's like, don't we get to roast marshmallows? Shut up and eat your pine cone. And I mean, it's just really funny. There's just
And
so
they
many.
throw, and as they're, roasting their pine cones, they throw a tire on the fire with gasoline and it
Yep.
explodes.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's that high. Also, never, ever throw gasoline into a fire out of a gas can.
Yep.
I know firsthand experience.
Yep. And then
Don't do it.
Lisa's at the edge of a dock before, a rickety canoe on a raging river.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome. They have a raging river at Kamp Krusty.
Yeah.
Lisa's like, are you sure that's safe? And Curry's like, well, it ain't getting any safer.
He's not wrong, but
and then the canoe breaks and then flies down the river.
Yeah, so this is a really crappy camp.
Well, it probably wasn't a crappy camp for a while, because I think I think Krusty actually, if I had to take a guess, I bet Krusty actually did this for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then just got all pissy at all the kids all the time and was like,
Probably.
I'm not going anymore.
So then we cut to Chief Starving Bear Weight Loss Center. And this is the start. So this is also on the Simpsons album. The key in this, I forget.
Sounds in the Key of Springfield.
Thank you. And so there's like a drill sergeant guy. He's like, we're not going anywhere until this Christmas ham gives me a pull-up. And then we cut to the kids singing the Kamp Krusty song. And it's Hail to Thee, Kamp Krusty, by the shores of Big Snake Lake. Though your swings are rusty, we hope they'll never break. And then Jimbo goes, louder, faster. But they don't actually do it louder or faster, if you notice.
Yeah.
And so they go from your gleaming mess hall to your hallowed baseball field to your spick and span infirmary where all our wounds are healed. And so, like, in the baseball field, you see Bart, like, running and, like, falling into a hole. You see a kid in the infirmary with, like, a Band-Aid. So then it's Hail to Thee, Kamp Krusty, below Mount Avalanche, which is just a big hill where rocks fall. We will always love Kamp Krusty. And then they say it really fast, a registered trademark for the Krusty Corporation, all rights reserved. And then the platform the kids are standing all collapse.
Yep.
Because it's Kamp Krusty and it's a rundown piece of crap.
Oh, that's a good song.
It's fantastic. That's so good. It's so good.
Now, I mean, the song makes it, aside from the rusty swings, everything else seems, like a fun camp atmosphere.
Except for, when you actually see everything.
Yeah, right.
So now it's time for dinner or lunch. And the kids are not served gruel. They are served Krusty brand imitation gruel. 9 out of 10 orphans can't tell the difference.
Nope.
God. I mean, at this point, are these kids are basically orphans. I mean, they have parents, but they're at a camp that's awful. So, and then we cut to Jimbo, Kearney, Dolph, and Mr. Black eating a really nice fancy meal in a
really nice cabin. Yeah.
And they toast to evil.
Yeah. Like, so they collected all the parents' money and did what with it? Like, they didn't put it into the camp, obviously.
I think some of it went to the counselors and the rest goes to Krusty.
And then to evil.
So then we cut back to The Simpsons and Homer exclaims, since the kids have been at camp, he's gotten 2 new hairs and he lost 5 pounds.
That's pretty good.
Well, I mean, he's not stressed out.
I know.
He doesn't have to worry about the kids. He gets to have love time with Marge. He gets to work out,
But I like how Homer is he not going to work during the summer or something?
I mean, maybe he's still going to work.
I feel like Homer's, like, his ambition completely went up when the kids were gone, but how can he not keep it up when the kids are there? I mean, I get they're stressful, but I feel like if Homer's happy, the kids are happy, and I don't know.
I mean, maybe Bart is just way too much.
Maybe.
So then we cut back, and it's bedtime for the kids, and the counselors lock the kids in the cabin, and Lisa and Bart, like, Bart's like, oh, we're gonna die, or Lisa's like, oh, we're gonna die, and Bart's like, yeah, and Lisa's like, no, Bart was saying they were gonna die, and he's like, no, I meant like right now we're gonna die.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, maybe you're getting served imitation gruel. This camp is dangerous. I feel like it would have been shut down because I assume camps get inspected before kids are allowed to.
Mr. Black paid off the inspector.
That's fair. So then after that, we cut to, meanwhile, at Wimbledon. We get Krusty heckling a tennis player and being loud and obnoxious. And I love how the PA announcer like calls Krusty out.
Yeah.
And is he sitting next to the Queen?
Yes, he is sitting next to the Queen.
I feel like the Queen wouldn't be sitting with the plebeians in the bleachers.
Well, is Wimbledon have plebeians? I feel like Wimbledon is so uppity that there wouldn't even be any downtrodden at Wimbledon. But maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
So Marge writes a letter to the kids, and Kearney's reading it and eating the jelly bean cookies. Oh. And I like how he's like, oh, these are horrible.
Tell your mom your cookies suck. To be fair, jelly bean cookies? I gotta agree with Jimbo on this. That sounds disgusting.
I don't know. They could be good. Who knows?
That's like raisins in cookies.
But those are, disgusting. Dude, I love oatmeal raisin cookies.
That's because you're psychotic.
They're the best.
Oh, chocolate chip.
I ate like 12 of those at our camp play. The whole thing of my my part in our camp play was eating cookies. I was the cookie guy.
God, that's just okay. The next time we hang out and there's cookies and they're oatmeal raisin, feel free to take mine.
Sweet.
I prefer either M&M cookies or chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah, I mean those are good too.
Oh,
so
raisins and cookies.
So then Lisa writes a letter to Marge and Homer because it's the thing to do, a camp thing to do. I mean, we sent letters back to our parents.
Dude, I was like the first couple of years I went to camp, they forced me to write letters.
Who, the camp or our parents?
The camp, because I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to talk to them.
I'm at camp. Like, if I die, you guys will alert them anyways. It's okay.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't think we ever got awesome goodies at camp. Did you ever get awesome goodies at camp from our parents?
We weren't allowed to keep, like, goodies in the camp. I mean, I know some kids did. They hid it from the counselors. I think when I was a counselor in training, I hid crap. But
we did. We did all the time. I brought my portable TV to camp. And we watched The Simpsons on it, too.
Nice.
Because, we have to watch something fun while at camp. And so the letter reads, Dear Mom and Dad, I no longer fear hell because I've been to Kamp Krusty. Our nature hikes have become grim death marches. And you see Milhouse like fall over and die. Yeah. Our arts and crafts center, in actuality, a Dickensian workhouse. And so they're making wallets and...
And in this scene, this is a reference to Ben-Hur. Kearney is beating a drum while the kids are, working basically in a sweatshop to make them work harder. And it is the slave galley scene from Ben-Hur, which I've seen Ben-Hur, but I don't remember that scene.
Yeah, and Bart makes it through the day, relying on his unwavering belief that Krusty the Clown will come through. Yeah, he was just in the corner like, he will come. Krusty will come.
Just rocking back and forth.
Yep. But I am far more pessimistic. I am not sure if this letter will reach you, as our lines of communication have been cut. Now the effort of writing has made me lightheaded. So I close by saying, save us. Save us now. And then we cut to Lisa, dropping the letter off with a horse rider. And it's a reference from the French Lieutenant's Woman, where Lisa gives a bottle of whiskey to the man on horseback as payment for delivering a letter. And Lisa is also dressed like Meryl Streep's character from the film.
I've never seen that movie. But again, I mean, it's the Simpsons writers. This is what they do.
Yep.
Just pull from random old films.
Yeah, and so I like how Marge and Homer, after they're done reading the letter, they're like, you know, she complains now, but when we go and pick her up, she won't want to leave.
If only you knew.
Yeah.
She warned him in the letter.
Yeah, but that's kind of the traditional thing too. Like a lot of kids, I mean, they come to camp, they get homesick, they, you know, don't want to be there. But then, yeah, when it's time to go home, they're like, I want to stay.
So the first time you went to summer camp, did you get homesick?
Hell no. I wanted to be away from our parents as much as they wanted to get rid of me.
Yeah, I mean, granted, like the first time I was only sent for 2 weeks. I think part of that was because, so the first year I went was like third grade, which was like 95. And they only sent me away for 2 weeks. I think part of that was because of my age. And I wonder if my mom thought I was going to get homesick. I did not want to leave camp. Did not want to leave. And I was only there for like 2 weeks, felt like a day. It was like, no, don't send me home. I want to stay.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, they come back to camp after that and the roof's blowing off the cabin.
Oh my God.
And so we cut to Homer and Marge having a picnic, and Marge thinks they're going to miss the fireworks.
So this is probably like the 4th of July, I'm assuming.
Yep. Yeah, because at June 12th, they probably went to camp the week later, and yeah, probably 4th of July. And Homer says they have all the fireworks they need right there, and then proceed to uncover a basket of fireworks.
I was not expecting that with the way this episode has gone. I was like, because he's like, the way Homer says, oh, we have all the fireworks we need right here. I'm like, okay, well, we've seen how this episode's gone. And then swerve. Oh, yeah, they actually have literal fireworks.
Yep. And so we cut back to camp, and Mr. Black dresses up Barney as Krusty. And he's like, I like Bart. Bart's like, okay, I've been scorched by Krusty before. I got rapid heartbeat from Krusty brand vitamins. My Krusty calculator didn't have a 7 or an 8. And Krusty's autobiography was self-serving with many glaring omissions. But this time, he's gone too far. And Bart leads a revolt against at the camp.
Yeah. I do like the fact that when Barney is up there, he sees Bart and he goes, oh, hi, Bart.
It was like, and he's like, I told you not to speak. Or he's like, well, no, he's like, here's Krusty, and because of a sore throat thing, he can't talk.
And then Barney talks anyways.
Yep. But I like how during the revolt, Barney's like, everyone's chanting, we want Krusty, we want Krusty, and Barney's like, we want Crunchy.
Well, you know, Barney's a lush, so.
Yep. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And so, you know, during the revolt, Lisa is handing out mail that never got delivered.
Which is kind of weird because I thought they'd make fun of they made fun of Lisa's cookie thing in front of Lisa. So I thought maybe the mail would at least be.
Yeah. And so this episode, this is another official first. We get Ralph's last name, which is Wiggum.
Yep.
Which in canon makes him, you know, Police Chief Wiggum's son. Also, did you notice that he looked kind of weird and his voice was slightly off?
He was. Okay. They might have given Ralph his last name, but he definitely did not sound and/or look like Ralph.
That was weird. What are they doing? Like, there's been a few episodes where do they not know what Ralph is yet?
No, I don't think they know what. I mean, there hasn't really, aside from the glue thing, they really haven't given Ralph his stupid. Voice yet, yeah.
You know. So Bart, you know, so then, you know, Bart's taking down the Kamp Krusty flag and he puts up Camp Bart flag, and Lisa's like, weren't you gonna call it Camp Friendship or something?
Camp Freedom?
Camp Freedom. I knew it started with an F. And he's like, well, Camp Bart just has a better ring to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, then we cut back to Marge and Homer relaxing so they're watching like some like mental, yoga, meditation. Yoga
something video. Yeah.
And they're, you know, relaxing and having a nice time when the program cuts out and we get a special bulletin, crisis at Kamp Krusty. Now, as a TV person, normally this stuff doesn't get named, because there's been a few times over my career in television where something happens and then they kind of name it. That usually takes like a 24-hour period, not, oh, there's a problem at, they would cut in and be like, there's a problem at Kamp Krusty. They wouldn't already have a name for it.
Kent Brackman thinks on his feet, though.
Maybe. It's possible. I mean, back at 92, though, to make that graphic, I don't know if they would have had enough time, but unless they thought about it, like they got all the information in and they're like, we want this for it. I mean, I guess it's plausible. So you have crisis at Kamp Krusty. And so Kent went to the camp. He must have been flown in because the bridge to the camp was destroyed. So I'm assuming they took the helicopter that the TV station owns.
Yep.
And he gets, he talks about, going to Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq, and not to be confused with, because at the current time they went to Iraq, this was talking about like, I think in like the 80s when they went.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I got an exclusive with the ringleader. And we cut back to Homer thinking, please don't be the boy. Don't be the boy. Don't be the boy.
You know it's going to be the boy.
Don't. Yeah, of course it's Bart. I mean, who else was going to be the ringleader? Homer?
Yeah.
Come on. And so, they show that it's Bart. And I love how Homer's 2 extra hairs fall out and his gut just comes springing back.
Yep.
I feel like that would take more than a few seconds, at least for the gut to come back.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Homer's stress body came back.
Yeah. So, this is great. I love this. So Kent's talking to Bart. And Bart goes, more like Kamp Crappy. And he goes, can I say crappy on air? And Kent replies, you can. Nobody's watching.
So can you say crappy on air?
Yes.
All right. They got something right.
Yes, you can say, well, in 92, I don't know what the censors were like. I mean, now, theoretically, you could probably get away with swearing on air. However, you still probably would be reprimanded because it's not professional. So, like, if a reporter or an anchor swears on air, they're probably going to get reprimanded. If they talk to a source and they say crappy or damn, that usually like gets slid, because like I know there's been a couple sports interviews where the coach or a player has said damn and it's just, we don't bleep it out.
Yeah.
So crappy you can say on air, that's not a curse word. So, and then Krusty arrives by helicopter, and I love the shirt he's wearing. It says, I got smashed at Wimbledon.
Well, that's like the term for like overhanding like a ball.
Yes. Also, I love how he was interrupted in the middle of a knighting ceremony.
Yeah.
He must have made quick friends with the queen at Wimbledon.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess he's a charmer, maybe. He's a clown.
Oh, yeah, he is.
So, he goes in and Bart's like, how do we know he's not wearing a wire? So they like rip open his shirt. We see his pacemaker scar. We see his cattle skull tattoo.
No, birthmark.
Birthmark, and his superfluous nipple.
Yep.
Which his third nipple.
Yes.
So I didn't realize, I totally forgot about all that. And then rewatching it, the memories, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yep. And so Bart tells Krusty he would never lend his name to an inferior product.
Yeah, tell that to Butterfinger.
I wonder if the Butterfinger commercials started coming out in 92.
I thought they were 90.
Oh, maybe. Like when Simpsons first started.
Yeah, right. 90 or 91.
Yep. And Bart's telling him all the horror stories. They're like, yeah, there was even a camper that got eaten by a bear. Well,
oh my God.
Well, to tell you the truth, it was just his hat.
Was it a nice hat?
Was it a nice hat? Yeah. And so
no, not the hat.
Yep. And so Krusty's like, all right, kids, I'm going to make it up to you. I'm taking you to the happiest place on earth.
Another dig at Disneyland.
Yep. Tijuana.
Because as we all know, Disney's motto is the happiest place on earth.
I just love all the, we keep mentioning it throughout the episodes about all the knocks at Disneyland, and now they're owned by Disney. It's just getting funny.
It's hilarious.
And so the song that's playing over the closing credits is South of the Border. But it's not Frank Sinatra, unfortunately. It's a sound alike. And we get.
So I wonder if they had to pay royalties to Frank.
I'm sure.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. And so we get pictures of Bart and Lisa in Tijuana. There's cockfighting. Krusty passed out in the street. Bart getting an I Caramba tattoo, which he must have gotten immediately removed when he
Correct.
he got back. Because we do see him with his shirt off in the pool episode, so he doesn't have it. And we get Krusty missing the bus when they have to leave, which is kind of funny.
Course. Also, before we get to our final thoughts, you watched all the way through the credits, right?
No, did Disney Plus add something at the end?
No, this was in the original run. So at the very end, when you get the title card, they also do an Olay.
Oh, do they? Awesome.
Yes. That's in the original run. I do remember that because I remember watching that episode not when it originally aired, but
Did you watch it through Disney Plus though?
I did, but I know for a fact that it was there because I remember seeing it on TV 20 years ago.
So they didn't have it during the Disney Plus credits.
They had it in the Disney Plus credits, but it's something that Disney did not add. It was originally Simpsons had put it in there. It's an original Simpsons.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with Disney Plus.
No, I know. I'm not saying it was. I'm asking you. You said it was at the end of the original run. I was asking you if it was at the end of Disney Plus.
It was.
All right. Final thoughts. I mean, this is easy for me, man. One of the best season openers, I think, that The Simpsons have had so far. I mean, I'm giving it a 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I mean, I love going to camp myself. I love just, the downtroddenness of this camp. I love Krusty not showing up till the very end. I mean, it really had a feeling of, it's just so nice to see something that Bart and Lisa were so ready to do. And, it turned out to be complete garbage for them. And, it turned out funny. It wasn't overkill for me. I think all the jokes are really good. I love seeing the other side. I love seeing Homer and Marge's side of the story. I'm kind of glad the whole episode didn't take place at camp. With the way it was done, I don't think you really could have. No. I mean, you could have, but I don't think it would have worked as well. I love having the Simpsons side of it in the episode. But yeah, with the jokes, Dolphin, Kearney, and Jimbo running camp, that was really funny. Mr. Black, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go 5. Everything's coming to Millhouse. This is a fantastic episode.
I agree. This is a fantastic opener. That sound you're hearing is The Simpsons nailing it. It is 5 for me. Everything's coming up Millhouse. It is fantastic. Pretty much any episode that has a song on it that ends up on any of their albums is usually really good because it's an iconic song. So the Krusty theme song or Kamp Krusty theme song is great. The jokes are great. It's so good. Again, this is considered the golden age of The Simpsons, seasons 3 through 10. And it's one of those iconic episodes that when I saw that this was on the schedule, I was like, yeah, take me back to Kamp Krusty. Because and again, we can, a lot of kids, I feel like can relate to this episode because it's a camp episode. Now, I don't think many kids who went to a camp like this. However, not every camp experience is going to be great. And so this is kind of the dark side of it. But the one knock I will give on it is, and it doesn't change my grade, this is a slight knock, is the fact that Homer made that deal with Bart that if he didn't get at least a C average, he couldn't go. Now, granted, we know Homer is a terrible father, so it fits his character. And I kind of wish they hadn't put that in there just because I feel like it slightly takes away from the funniness of this episode. But overall, it's a fantastic episode. The title card for Crisis at Kamp Krusty is phenomenal with its alliteration. Yep. It's really good. I love it.
All right.
So high bar since starting season 4, a high bar.
Yep. We'll see how it goes from here. So, let's finish it off with our character profile. We got Dolphin Kearney this week. We got a double dose of fun. I think we did Jimbo already, so
Yes.
We couldn't add Jimbo to this one, but Dolph and Kearney, their positions, bullies, colleagues, lieutenants of Jimbo Jones.
Yep, Jimbo Jones is the head bully.
I didn't think that. I thought Kearney might have been, but I guess Jimbo's in charge.
Yeah.
I guess Kearney could just be the muscle, and Dolph is
he's the wise guy.
The wise guy? All right.
Yeah.
Their job? Camp Krusty counselors. Now, I don't know if this stays after the fiasco they just had. If they got fired. But we'll see.
Well, here's the question. Is Kamp Krusty still open?
Yes, Camp Krusty still open after this episode? We'll see. Where are they seen? Shoplifting at the Leftorium? Or more frequently, in the Quickie Mart?
Yeah, I mean, Apu doesn't care.
Now, unexpected traits. Hold a high regard for town founder Jebediah Springfield.
Yeah, as we learned in the Tall Tale Head.
Yeah, they might be bullies, but hell, your history.
They respect history.
They respect history. They're brazen acts. They've beat up Bart on his own property.
Is that the episode where he went shopping and he was still in the car?
Yep. Yeah. That was pretty funny. All right. So, as always, guys, thank you for listening. I'm glad you're with us for season 4 starter. So, we're going to have fun this season 4. I feel like season 4 is going to be a breakout performance for the Simpsons Did It podcast.
Yes.
We got fun guests this season. We're gonna make it as amazing as humanly possible. So stay tuned for some amazing stuff through season 4.
The golden age of the Simpsons did it.
That's right. So as always, you can find us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Simpsons Did It Podcast. Email us with anything you guys like, fun facts, quotes. We're going to hopefully try to get a phone number. I want to see if I know there's this Google thing you could do for voicemails, and we're going to see if you guys call in, give us some stuff, and we'll throw you in the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
But until then, feel free to support our podcast, buymeacoffee.com/The Simpsons Did It Pod. We do accept, any form of donation you want to give us, monetary or, emails, thoughts, stuff like that. Review on Apple Podcasts. If you guys listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review us. It's really helpful. And also, we've been getting more and more subscribers on our YouTube channel. So,
woo!
Keep liking and subscribing videos, commenting on there. I'll comment back. We like to interact with our fans.
Let's get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. You guys don't have to keep searching for it.
That's great. I do want to point out that our fans' most favorite episode on YouTube, which is really, really funny. I think it's Bart Gets an F. It has like some 700 views plus on it already.
Awesome.
Which is
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
That's the most, I think, on any one of our episodes so far.
Nice.
So that's awesome. So I love seeing, now I don't know if it's a search algorithm or whatnot, or if you guys really like Bart getting an F, but thank you guys so much. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.